For 6 months, I talked every day with an incredible woman. Marcella understood my wounds, my fears, my need to take things slow after the divorce. She never pressured us to meet in person. She said she was also hurt, that she needed time. I believed every word. Until I discovered that Marcella didn't exist. The caring messages, the comforting voice notes, the advice about my love life. It all came from my own mother. She created a fake profile, stole photos from an acquaintance, and spent half a year manipulating me, sabotaging any real chance I had of meeting someone. When I confronted her, trembling with rage and humiliation, she didn't show an ounce of remorse. She just said, with that cold smile, "It was to test if you still thought of me first." And that's when I realized my mother didn't want my happiness. She wanted my imprisonment. Let me back up a little. My name is Sophia. I'm 38 years old and I'm a psychologist. Ironic, right? I spent years helping other people identify toxic relationships while I was trapped in a marriage that was destroying me little by little. When I finally had the courage to get divorced a year ago, I thought my mother would support me. After all, she saw how much I suffered. But Helena, my mother, was furious, not with my ex-husband, with me. "You're going to end up alone," she repeated. "Who's going to want a woman your age, divorced, too focused on work? At least you had someone." I ignored it. I was too busy rebuilding my self-esteem, my life. I started going out with friends, accepting dinner invitations, using dating apps. Nothing serious, just testing the waters again. That's when I met Ricardo, architect, divorced, father of a 12-year-old boy. We talked a few times, went out twice for coffee. He was kind, funny, respectful. There was chemistry. But then I met Marcella, or rather, I met her. She sent me a message on a smaller social network, one of those for hobbies. She said she'd seen my profile in a literature group. We started talking about books, then about life. She seemed perfect, sensitive, intelligent, was also recovering from an abusive relationship. Marcella understood me in a way no one else did, or that's what I thought. As my connection with her grew, I started to think Ricardo was too fast, too intense. Marcella agreed. "You deserve to go at your own pace," she said. "Don't force yourself." I canceled the third date with Ricardo, and the fourth. He gave up, politely. Little did I know I was being controlled the whole time. The months went by, and Marcella became my main confidant. We talked by message every day. She sent voice notes, always in public places with noise in the background, explaining that she was shy about her own voice. I never suspected anything. Whenever any man showed real interest, Marcella was there to protect me. She'd say, "That one seems kind of controlling," about a colleague who invited me to dinner. I saw his profile, lots of photos at parties, red flag. Or, "You deserve someone who truly values you, Sophia. Don't settle for crumbs of attention." I internalized every word, pushed people away, put up barriers, and I felt grateful to have such a caring friend. My mother, meanwhile, showed up whenever I least expected it. She'd drop by without warning, called 3, 4 times a day. When I complained, she'd fake fragility. "Sorry for caring about my only daughter. Since your father died, you're all I have." The guilt ate away at me, so I compensated. Sunday lunches, calls before bed, constant updates about my life, including about Marcella. "You tell everything to that internet stranger but barely have time for your mother?" Helena would provoke, but it was said as a joke, so I'd laugh, uncomfortable. 3 months ago, something changed. I met Daniel at a psychology workshop. He was a doctor, recently separated, and had a sense of humor that made me genuinely laugh. I didn't tell Marcella right away. I wanted to see where it would go before hearing analyses. We went out 4 times. I kissed him on the third date. I was allowing myself to feel again. Then, one morning, I woke up to 17 messages from Marcella. "Sophia, I need to tell you something. I researched this Daniel. There are things you need to know. My heart raced. She sent screenshots of a supposed profile of his on a forum about open relationships. It said he was looking for discreet adventures while pretending to be available. I was devastated. I confronted Daniel that night, crying. He was confused, denied everything, showed that he didn't have an account on that forum. Someone must have created a fake profile with my photos, he said. It happens. We can report it together. But the seed of doubt was planted, and Marcella was there, comforting me. Better safe than sorry, friend. You deserve someone completely transparent. I broke up with Daniel a few days later. He accepted it, sadly, saying that I didn't seem to really trust him. And he was right. A week later, my life fell apart. I was at the office between patients when I got a call from Juliana, a distant acquaintance of my mother's. We barely talked. Sophia, I need to tell you something strange. My nephew showed me a profile on a social network that's using my photos. The name is Marcella Silva. Do you know anyone like that? My blood ran cold. Can you send me the link? When I opened the profile, the world spun. It was Marcella, the photos I'd been seeing for 6 months. But the real name was Juliana Carvalho. I didn't create this profile, Juliana continued on the phone. Someone stole my photos. I'm going to report it, but I wanted to warn you because, well, this profile follows you and interacts with you. I hung up shaking. I canceled my next patients and went straight home. I opened every conversation with Marcella, every voice note. I reread every piece of advice, every concern, every interference in my attempts at relationships. And then I noticed a pattern. Every time I mentioned a man, Marcella quickly found problems with him. Every time I scheduled a date, she'd send me messages saying she was having an anxiety crisis and needed to talk, and I'd cancel my plans to support her. And the scariest part, Marcella knew things. Intimate details about my relationship with my mother, phrases my mother said, opinions that Elena repeated. My breathing got short. My hands broke out in cold sweat. So I did something I'd never done before. I got in my car and drove straight to my mother's house without warning. It was 4 p.m. on a Tuesday. She should have been watching her soap operas. I rang the doorbell 3 times. Nothing. I used my spare key. I found my mother in the office, her back to the door, typing rapidly on the laptop. On the screen, I recognized the social network interface. She was logged in as Marcella. Mom? Elena turned around so fast she knocked over a cup of coffee. Her face went through 3 expressions in seconds: shock, guilt, and then anger. What are you doing here? I taught you to respect other people's privacy. My voice came out shaky but firm. Who is Marcella? Silence. Mom, who is Marcella? She sighed, slammed the laptop shut, and stood up. Her tone changed completely. There was no more fragility, just calculated coldness. It was to test if you still thought of me first. I couldn't process the words. For 6 months, you pretended to be someone else, manipulated my life, sabotaged my relationships? Sabotaged, she laughed bitterly. I saved you from wasting time with men who aren't worth it. That Ricardo just wanted sex. Daniel too. You're naive, Sophia. You always have been. You can't be serious. After everything I did for you, her voice rose, I raised you alone after your father died. I paid for your college. And how did you repay me? By abandoning your marriage, leaving me aside, running after any man who gave you attention? Tears streamed down my face, but not from sadness, from pure rage. You stole 6 months of my life. You made me break up with people who could have been important. You invaded my privacy in a sick way. I'm your mother. I have the right to protect you. No, I shouted, and she stepped back. You don't have the right to pretend to be someone else, to lie, to manipulate.
This isn't protection, Mom. This is abuse. She tried to touch me, but I took a step back. You need help, professional help, and I need distance. Sophia, don't be dramatic. I'm going to report this profile, and I'm going to block you from everything. When you're ready to admit you are wrong and seek treatment, we'll talk. Until then, I don't want you near me. I left that house with shaky legs, but with a clarity I hadn't had in years. I reported the fake profile. Juliana supported me, providing proof that it wasn't her. The account was removed within 48 hours. I changed all my passwords, blocked my mother from social media and my phone. I started therapy. Yes, psychologists need psychologists too. The hardest part was calling Daniel and Ricardo. I apologized, explained what had happened. Ricardo was already in another relationship, but he was kind. Daniel agreed to have coffee with me. We don't know yet where this is going, but we're talking. Being honest, without interference. My mother tried to call me 43 times in the first week. Then she sent my aunt as an intermediary. I maintained my position. I'll only talk when she agrees to go to therapy. It took 3 months, but Elena finally gave in. She started sessions with a psychologist specializing in emotional dependency and grief. We still haven't spoken in person, but my aunt updates me. It's been difficult, but she's trying. And me? I'm learning something fundamental. True love doesn't control, doesn't manipulate, doesn't test. True love trusts, sets free, respects. I lost 6 months of my life to an elaborate lie, but I gained something more valuable: the courage to set boundaries, even with those I love most. If your mother or anyone makes you question your sanity, your reality, or your autonomy, trust your instincts. You're not crazy. You're being manipulated, and you deserve to be free.